This is an SM Media production.
Hi folks, and welcome to the latest episode of the Rangers Assessment right here on SM Media. I'm Scott Pike. It's a pleasure as always to be your host, and I'm delighted to be joined again by from the Every Other Saturday podcast. A pleasure to welcome on the show, Jack Hamilton.
Aye, nice to be here again, mate, to talk all things Rangers.
Yeah, it's going to be a good show tonight. Obviously, a win on the board and close on the table. So overall, good weekend for Rangers. It threatened to be a lot tougher than what it actually was, but we'll get into that. It was a fairly comfortable win despite a red card and going behind early. So I think overall very positive weekend.
Aye, I mean, you can't kind of ask for anything more. Obviously, we were the Saturday game this week. You kind of felt going into the game at home against Dundee, right? Good time to put a bit of pressure on. We normally kind of struggle in the Sunday game after Celtic have played and stuff. So it was nice to obviously get that win first, enjoy the game today, and obviously it was an enjoyable game for us to watch. So aye, pleasing all round this weekend.
Yeah, we'll get into everything. Start with the team news. 5 changes were made to the side that played on Wednesday night. Obviously, the win against Hearts. 2 obviously forced changes. Jose Cifuentes and Cyril Dessers came in. They replaced obviously the injured Tom Lawrence and Danilo. Borna Barisic came back in, as did John Suter and Rabbi Matondo. They obviously replaced McCausland, Yilmaz, and Goldson. The manager did say that was a bit of rotation, and I think obviously the 2 enforced changes were necessary, but I think good bit of management as well to get the likes of Suter, Barisic, Matondo in, give those 3 guys a rest, because using your squad, especially when you've got the injury record that Rangers do, it's only a positive to if you can bring in guys who can contribute.
Aye, I think looking at the team news for yesterday, looking at it on the face of it, I thought it was maybe a bit surprised with a couple of the guys that we had in. Obviously, Olsen dropping to the bench, he's kind of amazing. But looking with the packed kind of fixture list we have up and coming this week as well, coming up is going to be huge for where our season kind of goes in terms of Europe. Getting that first bit of silverware, hopefully, where that stands is for the rest of the season could be vital. So giving guys that play a lot of games rest and obviously, as you say, rotating. It was nice to see Matondo come on, start the game. Obviously, didn't see too much, obviously subbed at half time, but getting at least 45 minutes into the guys, Cantwell as well. Obviously, with the midfield issues we've got, taking him off is also a good idea at the time. And I think it was good to just see maybe a wee bit of rotation, even when the squad is so thin, to kind of get you set for the week to come.
First 5 minutes, again, Rangers have a warning. The D attack caught Rangers open. Jack Butland again makes a terrific save. Rangers don't learn for the lesson. They get a corner in. Balogun gives up a terrible attempt at a header. Again, 2 or 3 times the ball could be cleared for a set piece. The boy Bakayoko gets in, and Dundee take the lead after 5 minutes. And again, you're conceding goals, giving yourself pressure at the start of a game, but you've already had a warning. And that is, again, that's something that needs to be addressed, the defence. And even Butland yesterday, and I watched the game and I was looking at Butland all throughout the match. He was getting frustrated with how easy they were getting cut open, and it was the same. It was a game, the away game, not before the one before Hearts, whatever away game it was, and you could see the frustration he had. So the warning signs are there that this defence can be caught open, but you need to clear your lines at a corner. That's 3. Cifuentes could have cleared it, Suter could have cleared it, Balogun should have get rid of it as well. It shouldn't even get to Butland.
Yeah, I know that. I think that's the issue is obviously even before the corner's taken, how easy the Dundee guy gets in and through the defence for kind of one-on-one with Butland. Obviously, it's a great stop for his point of view, but the organisation at the corner and then just first contacts and stuff, I feel we never really get too many of them in terms of even attacking corners as well. Obviously, we scored one as well. I feel like we're weak at set pieces. Obviously, Dundee would come and they would target that. I think the game that you were thinking of was the Aberdeen game away from home. I remember it pretty vividly. How open we were for Miovski's goal, and a couple of other times. I think Sokler was through for Aberdeen as well that day, and Butland obviously was shouting and stuff. But then even Butland's in the second half as well. Some of his distribution was a bit iffy. So many times he'd maybe hold on to the ball a bit too much in the game in the second half. But I'm sure we'll obviously go on to that as we go.
Yeah, I mean, obviously one of the big things when you go behind is how do you respond, and there was a good response after that. I thought some of the play was really good. Cyril Dessers, we'll get into him because, again, he's obviously been much maligned, and I think a lot of times it's been fairly deserved, but has a couple of chances and obviously gets a chance to level it. Takes the shot with his right foot and blocks off, but the way he puts onto his left foot and the strike in, I thought Dessers was actually pretty good. You can see, again, in terms of fitness, the fact we're in December and we're still talking about he looks a yard off the pace is a concern. But I think with good options round about him, with players kind of working off him, I still think he needs to play in a two whenever he's fully fit. I've said that to get the best out of Dessers, I think he has to play, whether it's with Danilo or a Sima or something, I don't know. But I took a lot of positives for Dessers yesterday, and I thought his goal was really, really good.
No, exactly the same as you. I think it's probably one of the best performances he's had, even in a Rangers shirt so far. I think he took the goal well, especially with obviously being 1-0 behind and his mental strength as well. A lot of people have kind of questioned that, and even with the one who was through 1-on-1 with goals in the second half, like confidence is maybe lacking a wee bit, but I thought he took that finish quite well. High into the roof of the net, obviously took a bit of deflection and whatever, but it was good to get his level. And I think he's general all round kind of play. Some of his hold up play, some of the back heel that he had that led to about 5 or 6 chances that attack. I thought he done really well yesterday. Maybe in the second half there was a couple of moments just before he gets subbed where you're like, right, don't let the kind of that play creep in again, because he's set himself in good stead. But I will need him to play like that more often, obviously, because he's going to be our options up there, him and Roof. So aye, positive.
Yeah, no, that's the thing as well. Like, I think he's done himself no harm with putting in that performance. I think he needs to sharpen up, and some of his decision making at times is way off. But I think that comes down to confidence. But you just hope that he picks up a bit from yesterday. We've said this already, though, so hopefully this is the turning point for him. Did D miss a good chance? But again, one of the talking points that will come out of this game, despite the fact there's nothing to really talk about, corner up. Aaron Donnelly's got a hold of Seamus shot, and again, it's a stonewall penalty. But because we live in Scotland, because we live in the West, and because we live in hysteria world, this is going to be made into a far bigger deal than it is. It's a stonewall penalty, and it's put away really nice for Tavernier.
Nah, exactly what you need for Tavernier set him up. I mean, he's missed a few in recent months that you're kind of holding your breath when he goes up to take them now. But good finish right in the corner. Obviously, deservedly ahead after that. I mean, we were, as you say, good response. The penalty will always be a talking point. I mean, I was sitting in Ibrox myself, wondering, like, right, what's actually happened here? But seeing it back at halftime and on Twitter and stuff, it's a clear shirt pull. It's exactly the same as
the only thing you can say. The only thing you can say is that Seema does have a hold of his as well, but it's one of those. It's a penalty. Seema does have a slight hold, but the defender instigates he's pulling the shot first. So it is a penalty. Now, we are going to get into the referee because we have to, because I think he's a big reason, the reason that game, the second half turned into a bit of a mess. Rangers go 3-1 up. Again, really good. What I want to see more often for this Rangers side. Tavernier puts the ball in for a corner. Brilliant delivery. And there's Abdallah Sima again. Brilliant, powerful header. 3-1. The game looks done. And again, Abdallah Sima, he is just brilliant. He is, like, and you can argue a lot of the time, is his end product great? Not always, but the fact that he's just always trying to get on the score sheet, he's always trying to make things happen. I think he's been a revelation in the past couple of months. Like it has, like he's been such a big player for this Rangers side, and I think he's only going to improve with better players around him and a better consistency around him.
Yeah, I think Abdullah Sima, a guy that I had so much positivity when he joined the club, and it kind of was a rough start for him. But I think when we kind of went under the cosh a wee bit, Beale's kind of late tenure and before he gets sacked, and he was chipping in with goals and winners, and he was kind of saving him at times until obviously Clement comes in, and he's just kind of been always a mainstay in that side. 90 minutes of pure graft all the time. I fault his work rate at all. He's always on an outlet as well, probably our most attacking outlet. Scores goals for fun. He's 22, 23 years old. He's only going to get better. It's just the case here. Like, he's a loanee. Can we keep him? Can we afford to keep him? Because he's brilliant. He's a brilliant player.
Yeah, I mean, he's just been so key to this Rangers side. But again, like 3-1 up, I mean, just that's what I want to see for this Rangers side. Again, I keep saying it. Just if you go behind, stop at nothing. 34 minutes, it was 3-1. To that, I thought really real positives to take, and it looked to be 4-1. Again, another nice bit of play. Indeed, a goal disallowed before it was offside, despite hearing it wasn't, but it was offside. Really good bit of play. Some nice touches for Cantwell. Puts the finish away. Nice, but again, because he's rubbish, because he's not a good referee, instead of letting the play go on and hope, and if there's a foul in the build-up play, VAR can overturn it. Kevin Clancy blows his whistle, and the goal's disallowed. To me, I've looked at it 7 or 8 times because I always try, and I've done this for a long time. I always try and find a reason to back the referee, and I can't see what's wrong with the goal. And I can't. I'm not just saying that. I literally cannot see what's wrong with that goal.
No, I've looked at it a couple of times myself, watching the highlights back last night and this morning, and same as you, I feel like just let the play go on, just let it go on. It was a great finish for Cantwell as well, and I was when the goal went in, I'm like, right, that's what I want to see more for Todd Cantwell, just driving, good finish into the bottom corner, gets himself a goal. And we're laughing at that point, 4-1 up after going one behind. Exactly, I want this Rangers team to be relentless, attack, attack, attack. Just don't sit back and wait on mistakes and errors and teams to throw stuff at you, and just go for them. And I feel like that's what we did after the goal, and probably unfairly that one was chopped off. But it's Kevin Clancy. It's not even just Rangers fans being Rangers fans anymore. It's appalling the mistakes that he continues to make, the games that he continues to ruin as well, and he's still getting major games to referee. It's a poor state of affairs up here, I think.
We'll get into him because I want to touch on him. But no, again, another really nice bit of play for Campbell. Nice save for Trevor Carson actually. But a couple of minutes after that, just before half time, there as it Joseph Fuentes goes in. He mistimed his challenge. Kevin Clancy again doesn't really do anything about it. VAR tell him to go and have a look. I don't have any complaints about this because, and it's the same today. There was one in the Tottenham game. I don't know if you watched the Tottenham game, but there was one from Christian Romero where he goes in, studs up. Now, if you're going in studs up, whether you win the ball or not, the intent doesn't matter. It's what the contact is, and the contact doesn't look good. So I don't have an issue with this red card. I don't. It's probably the only time where I'll say Clancy got it right because I think it is.
I think looking at the game, I mean, I was again at Ibrox. When you're at the games, the VAR decisions they never really seem to. You never really seem to get them until you go on Twitter. So, looking back, I mean, it is kind of a wee bit of a stamp he's left, maybe a wee bit in, as you say, mistimed it a wee bit. Again, would Rangers going to appeal that because of the lack of midfielders?
That's the thing. I don't think it will. I think they will. I think they will appeal. I think they have to appeal it, but I'm not sure it's going to go overturned. But the problem you've got is if you appeal it, you then get a game added onto your ban. So
no,
as a red card, but again, it leaves us kind of looking at what are the options for next Sunday with in the midfield. Now, I don't think Thursday's too much of a problem. I think you can go. I know Thursday is a big game, but I think Sunday's so much bigger. I think Sunday's the turning point of this season, but you don't have many options. You don't have Raskin's not fit, Jack's not fit, Lawrence isn't there. What do? Do you trust somebody like Leon King, Sterling? I don't think Sterling was great in that position yesterday. So
me either.
I think it's a massive selection problem now.
It's getting to the point where you're literally at putting right backs into centre mid and trying to kind of hope for the best, and that's not where you want to be. I looked at the European list we put up when Beale submitted his squad for the groups, and there was only about 4 or 5 midfielders listed as players, and I thought that's really thin. It's considering the injuries we seem to always pick up, and the fitness.
Don't get
some
me
players.
started in Michael Beale's Europa League squad, because we could do like a full podcast.
Podcast talking over about that, but
yeah, I mean they're so light, and injuries happen, but I think we need to discuss it. Rangers injuries are to the point, like you think, like what are they doing? What is going on in training now? It's not the manager. Obviously, I think is as frustrated as the fans are, and rightly so, because it is constant.
Nah, you can't get 1 or 2 games out of some players. I mean, Tom Lawrence comes into the team after his long injury, plays well up at I think it was St Johnstone away, gets a couple of assists. By the Betis game, he's injured again. Same comes here, he's back. He gets injured 5 minutes into the Hearts game. It's like you've got no luck with some players, but you're wondering like what is causing these injuries? Is it lifestyle? Is it
and it's a lot of things training? As well. A lot of things as well. There's players that are coming back from injuries, like Raskin being an example. We heard that Raskin wasn't ready until after the international break. I think that was in October, just after Beale was sacked. Beale gets sacked and he's straight back in the side, but he gets injured a few weeks later. Are they coming back too early? Is enough being done in terms of rehabilitation to get them back from muscle injuries? The amount of muscle injuries are ridiculous. Now, you can get a bad injury, that's fine, but the amount of players like Ryan Jack, obviously, you can't rely on the likes of Ryan Jack and Kemar Roofe anymore, because people are saying, "Oh, Roofe's back. Roofe will be big in these next few weeks." You cannot think too far ahead with Kemar Roofe or Ryan Jack, or even players like even now. Tom Lawrence you're probably thrown into that bracket as well, because the luck has been so bad. But at times you've got to go, is it luck or is it just properly bad rehabilitation? Because that's what it looks like.
Nah, it just, as you say, we're looking deeper into it than probably we ever had, because it's just players are dropping out every 2 seconds, and it's something that again it needs to be kind of held accountable for what is actually happening here. It's big players been missing at big moments. I mean, if you've got a Raskin, a Jack coming back for the game on Sunday, you're all right with Cifuentes being banned, but it's the fact that we're going to have to really go and do we trust Bailey Rice or Leon Kings, guys that have not played really all season for the first team?
How hard is it to ask them? Right, you're playing in a cup final, you haven't played for a while, go in and do that job. Now, unless you've got a huge mentality, unless you're a Barry Ferguson, you can do that. It's so hard. It's so hard for a young kid to be thrown in there. So, is it beneficial? But it's getting to the stage you might have to do. I think I don't know. Like, the problem is that there are options there. I mean, you could, as much as I don't want to get into a cup final with Sam Lammers and Cyril Dessers, but you might have to. You might have to play Cantwell a bit further back and just go that way. Do you know what I mean? You can maybe get away with it because it will be an open game, but it's still, I mean, it's a massive, massive concern.
Nah, it's a massive concern that we're kind of throwing Lammers into that starting discussion now as well. That is where we are, and I'd probably lean towards that. If Ryan Jack, I don't expect him to be back. If Ryan Jack's not going to be back for the game on Sunday, I would probably lean to playing Cantwell, kind of let Clement deployed Lawrence in there, kind of the same role, and Lammers can take up
Cantwell as well. That's the problem with that. But half time, it does make a couple of changes. It brings off Cantwell and Matondo. It brings on Ross McCausland and Dujon Sterling. Sterling kind of plays in that alongside Lundstrom. I didn't think he was terrible, but I just didn't. I wasn't. To be fair to him as well, he's no thinking sitting on that bench in the first half. I'm going to be playing centre mid in the second half. So it's fair play to him. But McCausland again, not just real positive threat when he come on.
Nah, McCausland just continues to impress every game he plays, really. And if it weren't for rotation, I mean, he's playing every game he can. At the moment, he's been just what we need out there on the right hand side. We've lacked anything really creative or a guy with pace that can really drive and kind of make chances and stuff. And he's obviously added that goal against Limassol as well. So he's exactly what you would want in his first 10 to 15 games for Rangers. He's done really well, and he's only going to continue to improve. Dujon Sterling, on the other hand, as you say, he's not expecting to come on and play midfield and really be kind of stuck at the edge of his box, having to defend with 10 men. So I think for the case that he's came on and he's done his best. I mean, he was unlucky with that one that hit the post as well for when he was attacking.
Yeah, it was.
But he done his best. I don't think it's going to be a role that we'll see him play all so often though, because I didn't think it really suited him. But a lot of good graft in the second half for everybody, I thought.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, let's address the elephant in the room. Second half, again, Rangers are the backs of the wall. Obviously, that I think they would have been happy to take 3-1 and just go home. But because you've got a referee now, let's not forget here with Kevin Clancy. I have never seen Kevin Clancy have a good game. I've been at games with Kevin Clancy as a referee in like Championship, and he's not a good referee. He's way too quick to make this. He's way too right. He doesn't think about anything. He's just, as soon as they can get the whistle to his mouth. VAR is there to be used as a tool to help a referee, and in the first half he doesn't use it. But in the second half, he just did not let that play flow. Clement was getting frustrated. The way he runs to Clement is just a guy just looking for, I'm going to make an example out of you. Clement is rightfully getting frustrated, and he just sucks the air out of a positive football atmosphere because he's that bad a referee. And I'm not one, and I try not to. I'm not one of these people who think referees are at it, referees are on the take. I just don't think he's a good referee. And I think, as you said earlier, he's had 2 Rangers Celtic games where he was abysmal. He got the first Dundee Rangers game at Dens Park where Tony Docherty comes out and said he fouls their own player. He then gives Rangers a penalty in the second game, and Tony Docherty says he has a phenomenal game.
Yeah.
I mean, what are we? First of all, I'm of the strong opinion, if you've refereed one game, if you've refereed a game between 2 teams and one of the referees has said you fouled their own player, you do everything to make sure they don't get that second game. Not because he's fouled the player on purpose or anything like that, because why are referees getting the same game reversed? That doesn't make any sense to me. Surely there's enough referees to divvy that up.
Mm-hmm.
But just yesterday, just watching that game, he just sucks the life out of an atmosphere. He does, and you could see. But it's Kevin Clancy, and he does it all the time. And I think he's the worst referee in Scottish football. I've said that many times. I think Colum runs him really close, but he's the worst referee in Scottish football.
I can't disagree with anything you've just said there.
And every single team will fans of every single team will agree to that, because they have to. Because I've not seen him with one positive game. He shouldn't get big games. Now, people are saying about Don Robertson getting the game next week. Don Robertson is in a different level to Kevin Clancy in terms of a referee. Don Robertson isn't good either, but he's in a different league to Kevin Clancy.
Nah, and that just shows you what we deal with here in Scotland, the kind of standards and stuff. And as you say, it's not just a Rangers fan speaking for a Rangers fan point of view. It's like Kevin Clancy, we watch him, we see other fans have issues with the way he referees games and stuff like that. And it's the case that he isn't good at what he does. It's just, as you say, in that second half, it was stupid wee silly fouls. I think it was one where Dessers nearly had his shirt pulled back off him. And I think he not book the Dundee player, or he done something that reversed the decision and booked the other guy anyway. And you're like, where's the consistency with the challenges and stuff?
There's no consistency with him though, because he doesn't have any thoughts in his head. All he's thinking about is just the immediate. He doesn't think of, I've made that same decision 2 games ago. He's just not a good referee. He's not. He's far too rash. That's simple. But I just don't think. And again, this is where the problem is, and this is where Rangers should step in here. And this is where Rangers have to look at this, because famously they wrote to Kevin Clancy after, I think it was the Aberdeen game last year, where he was abysmal again.
Mm-hmm.
And the right after the draw, it's a draw, but it looks like sour grapes because you haven't won the game. This is the opportunity where you go, we need to ask us, why is this man getting these big games? Because every time not just Rangers get him, every big game, I'm surprised that I've not heard anything like that. Rangers, this is the time to do it, because you won the game. He's a shocking referee. He is. And I don't want to make this a Kevin Clancy show because he doesn't deserve that, but it's just, again, watching a game of football with him in it just, you don't enjoy it.
Aye, that is exactly what it is. It's just, As you say, probably the prime time for Rangers to really step up and take action upon that. As you say, I never thought about that myself, but it probably is. It's the right moment. I mean, he said, you look at the decisions, it was hectic at Ibrox. It was just decision after decision, VAR, whatever. And it was just, it never flowed well at all. Second half was a slog to watch because he's incompetent as a referee.
And I felt, again, Clement handles it really well in the press conference. He says he went in and apologised, fair enough. But I think that takes a lot of class for Clement, because if I was in Clement's position and I was seeing what he was allowing to happen, and the way the game just broke down into a nothing game in the second half, I wouldn't have apologised to him. I would have actually asked, can you explain to me what you do, why you have done this today, why you have allowed this, your incompetence to get in the way of what was it? I mean, second half, it could have been about, if Dundee had got another goal as a neutral, you'd have been watching that thinking that's an exciting game of football. But because he just broke everything down, it just turned into a nothing second half. And that's my problem. I'm not one of those, and people know this, I'm not one of those who cry hysteria, and I just want to see a good game of football. I want to see the referees. I always look for the positives in referees. I look to see, has the referee made the right decision? Like I say, he gets the Cifuentes decision right, but instead of allowing the game to be played allow VAR to be used properly, it blows for a foul in the Cantwell thing, but I don't see anything wrong with it. Just let the game flow. Use your tool. Make yourself a better referee. He can't. Other referees can. He can't, and he's never going to be able to. He shouldn't get big games.
Yeah, and that's what you say with the Cantwell one will annoy me because of how quick he makes a decision, and it's the same as the Cifuentes one. We given him the yellow card as well, not even thinking about what's just happened in front of him. He's dire. He's dire.
Yeah, it just books players willy-nilly as well, but that's another situation. But back to the football. Let's not give Kevin Clancy any more time. Some nice bits of stuff, as you say. Sterling, Leon King comes on for a wee while. I thought he didn't really have enough time to show that he was doing anything major, but I wouldn't be surprised if he maybe throws King in and went in Thursday night, something like that. Maybe just goes right here. Here's an opportunity here to play all right, because you could see that. Like, I've watched him for Scotland in midfield. I don't think he's natural there. Now he might. I would be more of the opinion somebody like Suter in there, like than Leon King. I don't think Suter's, but in terms of the way kind of Suter brings the ball out, it might work a bit better. I'm not sure how he fixes that problem. But again, it was just about getting the 3 points and using the squad well. And Lammers didn't come on. I think that means Butland's the only player to play every game so far this season. I was quite surprised Lammers didn't get on late. But again, it was just one of those. Roof comes on with 15 minutes to go, and you give players like Goldson a rest. Do you know what I mean? Like, Goldson gets 90 minutes rest. That'll be invaluable in the next few weeks. And it was just again, once the red card, it was just about get the 3 points, don't make this any more difficult, and let's just go. But all in all, fairly routine when you think about the second half.
Nah, it was exactly that. It was just kind of backs against the wall. Dundee did throw quite a bit, as I thought, in the first sort of opening 15 minutes, but nothing really sort of clear cut. We dealt with it. Had a couple of breaks up the pitch and stuff, but it was just clear that we had to get out of there with the 3 points, which we did. Was happy with the way we kind of grinded it out. As for the kind of midfield situation, I've kind of been thinking about Ben Davies as well. I think
possibly, yeah.
Ben Davies, I don't think is physical enough in the air to be a centre half sometimes. And I feel that the way he kind of distributes the ball and he's comfortable on the ball, I think that could be an option to maybe just play him as a kind of CDM or something. But that'll be Come on, will probably be going crazy with the amount of decisions he actually has to make in there
and
for the next week.
It's a double-edged sword, isn't it? If you play somebody like a Suter or a Ben Davies in there and they win the game, it's a masterstroke. But if they don't win the game, you're thinking, what on earth have you put a centre half in there for? So it is a double-edged sword. But I think there's positives to take. Like, as I say, I thought Sima again. I think Dessers again. The link-up play, I thought first half, likes I Cantwell. I thought there was real positives to take. I thought the defence could have been better. Tavernier, I thought, came on to a bit of a game kind of later on. So I would say overall, far more positives to take away. It's a good result. 3 points, as you say, we'll get into it in a second, but it's now a lot closer. That game could have went a different way, and we could have been talking about today very differently. So massive. I think that's a massive 3 points in conditions.
Nah, especially for where this Rangers team kind of notoriously slip up, and it's weekends. The weekends are getting more vital by by the week. They keep coming along, but the fact that Celtic are going to Kilmarnock today and you've got that win under your belt is huge. And the fact that we've got closer now as well, it's a massive result, as you say. And I think it's probably looked at as more a big result because of the 10 men, because of the kind of the way we had to do it. So very happy with a lot of the players. I thought in the first 20, 25 minutes, we played some really good attacking stuff. And long may it continue into next week.
You saw obviously today Celtic lost 2-1 away to Kilmarnock. Now that means that's now the title. There is a title race on now, and as you say, you said there rightfully, in terms of how poor recruitment was in the summer, losing your first 5 home games to be in a position where it's now 5 points and you've got a game in hand. I think it shows one or two things. I think it shows that Celtic are not as good as they were, and they're not. But Rangers have to use this as a massive opportunity because it's presented itself now. Rangers should not be in the position where they're in with a chance of this title. They've thrown too many. Aberdeen last week been a classic example. We should have won that game, but to be in a position where you've lost 3 home games, I think that's a massive few weeks coming up. No bigger than the game in the 30th, but we'll get into the cup final in a minute. But looking at the next few weeks, if Rangers can win those next 3 games and go into the Celtic game on a run, still unbeaten, with a cup in the bag, it could be a completely different dynamic than what we've seen in a long time in that game.
It's shame up to be genuinely one of. I know we kind of say it most times, but the New Year derby, it's shame up to be one of the biggest that we'll have. I mean, Celtic are kind of they're sleepwalking a wee bit. I think with some of the games, I think they're relying on sheer quality rather than actual tactics at times with Phil Riley and stuff. They deservedly get beat today, and we've got a lifeline. I mean, our game in hands at St Johnstone at home. I mean, you think that should take care of itself, but knowing this Rangers team, nothing's ever kind of guaranteed. So, as you say, getting a cup on Sunday would be huge for this Rangers team who've constantly been kind of scrutinised for their ability in big games, and when something's on the line, they can't go and grab it. So, if that's in the bag, and we keep going on this run, who knows what can happen, because it's only going to stand us in really good stead going forward, I think.
Moving on to Rangers, got a game on Thursday night, big European game. Rangers will play Real Betis away from home. Betis, who got a draw last night against Real Madrid, so they'll be getting in quite high in confidence. In terms of team setup, obviously we kind of know what the back four will be. I would imagine Suter would move to left centre back, and Goldson would come back in. I think that as well, as much as I think not having any your players in the Europa League squad, which again I could get into all day, but I think it obviously gives Balogun a good week's rest. And in terms of midfield, I mean, I don't know what he does. I fairly got an idea what he'll do in terms of the front four. I think that's fairly set in stone that he'll go with Seaman, McCausland, Cantwell, and Dessers. Lundstram will definitely play. It's those centre back position. It's the centre back position and the midfield position that's probably the two you're thinking. What does he do there?
Yeah, I think as far as I'm aware, Cifuentes is in the Europa League squad. So I think,
of course he is.
So I'd imagine he'll step in. He'll play that game. But it still leaves the problem. The centre halves. I think Ben Davies has done all right in European games so far. I think the two at home out with Aris Limassol, I think he's had 2 kind of good games, probably his better ones for Rangers. But Suter, I'm kind of, again, it's the two of them. I don't know who I would actually rather prefer. I think Suter maybe has that wee extra yard of pace. Betis are obviously going to be a fast kind of attacking side, some of the players have got. So I would expect it exactly the same team, probably lean towards Suter, and obviously I think Cifuentes will deploy next to Lundstram.
Of course, Cifuentes will play. But predictions for that game, like Betis, again, they're a good side. This group is fairly wide open. I do expect Sparta Prague to win. So I think obviously if Rangers win the game, they win the group. But if they lose the game, they could end up third and in the Conference League. I'm very vocal in saying that I think Europe at the moment is not as important, but if you're still in the Conference League, you could still get that European kind of money. So it's not a massive problem. But I think it is a big game. It is a big game because, as you say, you can win the group, give yourself a rest for February, or you could end up in the Conference League. So it's one of those. We could. I mean, I don't think second will happen because if you draw, I think you finish third anyway. So it's gonna be. It's a tough. It's gonna be. It's one of those nights. It could be a fairly hectic night in Seville. We've been there before.
Aye, I know. We can't seem to get ready. Hectic nights in Seville anyway. But I think at Betis, they're obviously a good side. They're shown that yesterday, Real Madrid, they drew with them. But I don't think they're anything special compared to maybe like Real Sociedad, Athletic Bilbao and stuff like that. Teams kind of around the same, maybe level playing field in La Liga. I think maybe they're probably at the bottom of that pack. But they've obviously got good quality and they can hurt us as well. So I think I would look at this game and I'd play that 11, but I'd try my best to win the game. But if we've still got European football after Christmas and it is the Conference League, going into a cup final, 100%, the most important game's Sunday. So I reckon we see what happens on Thursday. If we win, great, we go through. If not, I think second could be a bit of a difficult one for us as well. Champions League dropout playing them. I think it'd just be better all round if we finish third, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah, so we'll go for score predictions. I think Rangers will score. I'm going to go for I think one each. I think it's going to be a draw, and I think that means they finish third if Sparta win. So very interesting. What about yourself?
I'm thinking more of a draw myself. I think Betis have got a good bit of quality. They'll pepper us, I would imagine, but I think we'll have our kind of chances of our own. So probably agree with you there. Maybe one each or a two each or something. Get out of there, be a draw and on to Sunday.
Yeah, but it's going to be a fascinating week. Obviously, we've got a big game to preview on Sunday, Aberdeen and the League Cup final. This is probably the biggest game of the season. I think the biggest game in terms of how a dynamic of a season can change. Rangers win that game, then a monkey's off the back. This team can win. They haven't won the League Cup since 2011. First chance of Clermont to get a trophy. We saw with Alec McLeish in 2002. It can just completely change the dynamic of a season. And again, it's just a massive chance, puts Rangers in a chance of winning this treble. But if Rangers don't win it, the same questions will get asked that have been asked for years, that this squad is not capable of winning big games. This is a massive opportunity.
This is, when you think about huge games, this is get everything. As you say, Clermont coming in sort of just after the season started, he's steadied the ship, he's got results out of this team. To go one better and get a trophy would be huge for him as in his sort of status as a Rangers manager, and then the squad as well. I mean, it'll give everybody more belief that we can actually go and do something. So I think it's absolutely massive. It just happens to be against Aberdeen, who raised their game 100 levels to play Rangers, which is going to be the toughest part about it. I think it'll be a really interesting game on Sunday at Hampden, but we need to win it. It's massive for setting where we're hopefully going to go at the end of the season. It could be defining.
Yeah, we'll have our cup final preview on the channel coming up. I think it'll go out on Saturday morning, so stay tuned for that. But yeah, I'll ask you for a score prediction in that before we wrap up, Jack. Give us a score prediction for the final.
Well, Aberdeen, notoriously a wee bit ropey at the back this season. They've got a few meatheads at the back, I like to call them, Rubizic and stuff. So I think they can be a bit ropey. They've obviously got their own outlet as well with Miovski, Clarkson. They've got good players, but I would expect us to go there, and I think 3-1 to Rangers. That's what I'm going to call it.
Interesting. Well, we are going to wrap up there, Jack. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you on again, mate. Thank you very much.
No worries. Great talking all things Rangers, and hopefully we can have a good positive smile at the end of next week.
Here's hoping. Thank you very much, folks. If you want more Scottish football content, then tune into our Patreon channel, and as always, follow us on social media at the Rangers Assessment. Thanks very much, folks. We'll see you soon. Cheers.